Hi, I'm Ross from Airsoft, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Stingray Claymore and Trigger firing system. So Stingray Airsoft is a newer company that's popped up in the past couple of years, and they have started producing some very unique airsoft replicas, such as launchers, mortar systems, RC cars, and their Claymore that I have here in front of me. These systems are a bit unique to what we might normally see from Claymore systems and what's generally on the market currently. So I'm excited to take a look at the Stingray Claymore I have here in front of me and kind of give you guys a rundown of what you can expect out of the box for it. So to begin, just externally, these guys are a 3D printed polymer. They are a very, very sturdy design though. I'll say that it's got a bit of weight for sure. When I'm holding it in my hand, you can see all of the filament layers, and it is definitely not gonna break on you or go anywhere. We've dropped this guy a few times just during testing, just to see how it holds up. Obviously, we've launched a couple of its expendables out of it, and we have had no damage at all to the exterior of this guy whatsoever. So the construction is really, really solid. So when you hear that it's 3D printed, it is not something to worry about. This guy is built really, really well. You have some stickers on here as well as some painted letters giving you certain instructions as in how to lock it, where your battery goes, stuff like that. On the trigger itself, you have your safety and your Stingray trigger device sticker there, as well as a little bit of writing on here to give it a little bit more of that realistic feel. Stingray does like to replicate these to look kind of like the real world variant as close as possible, with your Clacker style here. So that is a cool thing to see if you're looking for something that's kind of matching a kit or, you know, looking realistic. So these guys can be set up to fire off in two different ways. One is with a remote detonation, which would be using something like this. This is a range extender, as well as an infrared wire to be a trip wire, so someone can walk in front of it and it would set off this unit. Or you can have a manual detonation, which would be with your Clacker here. You would just click in and fire it off once it's all armed and set. So that is kind of two different ways that you can utilize this out on the field. You get a really, really good range on this guy as well. They say about 300 feet, and during our testing, we were able to get beyond that and through concrete walls and things of that nature. So you are definitely getting a good amount of space between you and your Claymore to allow you to set it off. Now you can pick up the non-reusable expendable rounds that Stingray has. We have these fired off, so you can see the empty cap here. However, they usually come with a little red filament full of BBs. These are pre-gassed inside, and they have little contacts here on the outside of the round, which actually initiate a little wick that burns, and it unleashes that gas, firing it off. So these guys are single use. So once you load it in, set it all up and fire it, that is your one use. And then it is simply buying more of these rounds and using them in your Claymore. The Claymore itself is reusable, along with the Clacker and the range extender. All of this is a buy once, cry once, and these are expendable, so you can buy as many as you want and carry them on your kit. Now, I absolutely recommend you read the manual. You look at the YouTube videos that Stingray has online for these Claymores to learn all of their functions and how to set them up properly and use them properly when you pick yours up. I think that once you get used to the pairing and arming of the device, it is really easy to use. It is pretty simple to figure out how to get them to pair and to consistently do that over and over again when reloading. It is just learning it the first time and getting it down pat and knowing what the lights and the different pairing modes kind of mean and how they interact with each other. It's nothing too complicated, but it just takes a little bit of messing around with. I definitely recommend hooking it up and doing it all without any ammunition in and just getting those lights to sync and then getting them to go red for a detonation, and just making sure that you are properly, you know, utilizing all the equipment the way it's meant to be before you're actually firing off your rounds. The other thing I'll say, and just something to keep aware of, is with the Clacker itself, there is a 3-second hold time when you are arming it, for when you're supposed to hold this down and then release, and then you can hold it down again and put your safety in. We were having a bit of a weird kind of time just because where the safety sits in here, it does actually depress the button just to set the safety. So we were having it not really go into the safety the way we wanted to. We tried putting the safety in while it's out like this, but as you can see, there's actually still enough to press that button. You can hear it clicking. So we could not get the safety on this to actually work the way it was supposed to. We had to basically set up the Claymore and leave it like this in this configuration, and then whenever it was time to fire, do that. Which wasn't the biggest deal in the world, but it does leave, you know, a feature that we think could have been built a little bit better here, but that is the one note we had about the Clacker system. Another thing I'll say is when we do our testing, you'll see we talk a little bit about the stands that it uses to hold itself up. As you can see, I have it set here, which is an option, but we really found that the best way to have it is to be a little bit raised and kind of tilted up, which depending on where you are actually placing it, you could have a little bit of trouble with that mounting solution. So just something to be aware of. There are definitely other things that you could build or print that you could fit in here and stand this up in different ways, but just with what it comes with, we were having a little bit of a hard time getting it stuck into the ground in a harder surfaced environment. And then the only other thing I have to say about this before we get into the actual testing and use case of the Claymore is the battery compartment. You have this little space here, which is meant for an 11-1 battery. We were having a really hard time finding a battery that fit inside of this space. So something to be aware of is just this battery compartment here. You want to make sure that whatever battery you get is going to fit in there so that you can close it properly. We ended up just having our battery hanging out because the one we had on hand happened to not fit really in this space here. It's going to be a little bit of a tight squeeze. So whatever battery you pick, just be aware of that. And then on your Clacker, we do have a USB-C charger, so you have to charge this guy separately, as well as our range extender. We have a battery compartment on that as well. So all three of these are taking technically their own separate batteries to charge, and then you have the expendable rounds as well. So a couple of different stages here that you have to be aware of when preparing your Claymore for a game. But you can watch the functionality of the Claymore for yourself in this testing footage that we shot the other day.
Good morning, everyone. Talon here on site. Today we're going to be looking at the Stingray Airsoft Claymore and doing some on-field testing for those in the studio.
Back to you. The Stingray Claymore, which currently has the 11-1 hanging out of its battery compartment here on the side.
Well, a little correction, 7.4.
Oh, we have a 7.4, but it does say it's rated up to an 11-1. We're using a 7.4 today. Shouldn't give us any performance difference.
The issue with the 11.1 versus 7.4 is that there's just no compartment space to fit a 11.1 with how a lot of battery manufacturers are making 11.1s nowadays. So would like to, hear from Stingray what their options are. But even with a smaller 7.4, it's not going to get the compartment closed there.
You can't get a shot with that guy?
No.
Yeah, I'm curious what battery they suggest using, but it is a Dean's connector in there, so whatever your Dean's battery choice is.
What I have liked is their rudimentary and secondary safety systems. So you do have your, that's gonna happen, I guess. You have your on and off button, little antenna right here, since we're pointing things out, but you also have your safety mechanism right here. So always make sure to not have your projectiles locked in here, just in case something does freaky happen. But as a secondary measure, you do have a manual pull safety. So now you're armed. And now you're not. One note, personally, just looking at this, the spikes are all in line. I personally would rather have had the legs do like a tripod thing. So if this is not something that you're going to be able to put in the ground, one thought, an example could be if we go to GTI or Guardian Center where we're going to be indoors with concrete bases, can't really stick anything like this into a concrete floor. So having a little tripod for it to stand upright in would make a little more sense. Take the spikes out, which, albeit they look like they should just fall out, but there's a little accent right here on the side of the metal, so that helps it retain. Oh, look at that, doing a great job sticking already. If you put it right on the ground, it's going right at foot level. So airsofters have a hard enough time calling hits when they hit the boots, so personally would want something that is gonna be a little more upward, kind of more center mass.
Sure.
All right, so hit the on-off button. So we've got a green light right here. And just for the sake of, oh, see what I mean? We got a little bit of a rock base, so a little tippy.
It's in there.
But it's not holding very well. This one does not utilize a lithium polymer battery. It has a internal recharging, antenna, safety, on-off switch. There we go. And then actual clacker.
Green on both.
Okay, green on both.
They're armed.
So safeties, the pin is in, the arm itself is not, which we've been testing off camera. So if I hit this, it is going to go red, which means it should fire, which is a little dangy, especially if I pair it up close and then I need to set it. So this is one of those. So it should be, because if you want to come around from the backside here, you can see what the contacts are. So you got contacts on the 7 o'clock position, and then you have some reciprocating contacts here as well. And you have a red, which you gotta get kind of low. At least it should show red. It's not showing red. All right, well, I'm gonna do this, and you gotta lock it. Get my hand out of the barrel.
I was gonna say.
Okay, now. Triggering in 3, 2, 1.
You didn't pull the safety out of the grenade.
Ah!
Hang on, let me get a better shot.
I guess I'm gonna sit here, wait for it to pair. Make sure I'm nice and close.
It's not paired yet?
It was, and then I triggered it.
Oh, true.
Oh, oh, oh. All right. Firing in 3, 2, 1. Okay. Interesting.
Delayed, yeah.
A little delayed, but you know what? We kind of knew that for the rockets.
The rockets are delayed?
Yep.
Okay, so that's just the firing mechanism then. There, before you take it out. So that is what the inside's looking like. Go ahead and pull it out.
And I clicked it off and then re-clicked it back on. So pairing, which I guess needs to be done with the safety out of the, I mean, we just have the pin in here, but it actually doesn't do anything. So you have to arm it, set it. So green, still blue. So when you pair it, you have to have your safety out and like it ready, which means you can prep the Claymore, but this is still going to be live. So you have to have it on a trustworthy buddy, or you have to be really good about shooting one-handed if you're going to set this and have this on the ready.
Yeah, or you're gonna have to have the safety in it.
Well, even if I have, because I fired it with the safety in.
Oh yeah,
and
because it'll push it down, yeah.
Yeah, okay, there it paired.
Okay.
That took a little bit. All right, take 2, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. It kind of peppered all around me. Like most of it splattered up over here, went over off this direction, and then I had like a BB bounce up and hit me in the belly.
Yeah, I heard it kind of hit the connex a little bit, so.
Yeah, so like just by whatever like happenstance of like, if from this distance, 30 feet away, 35 feet away, there's a chance it's not gonna hit someone.
Yeah.
Which means you gotta be fairly close. All right, well, it's repaired. It wants you so badly.
They're both blue. There we go.
There we go. All right, now we're going to get this guy going. This is very sensitive. It takes like no effort at all in order to get that to disarm. So it is currently armed. We're gonna turn it on. Oh boy.
Here, you want to move it a little closer to the grenade?
Ooh. Armed. Does not say anything. Oh. Threat detected.
Did it say that?
Yep.
It did say threat detected.
All right.
Detected my threat. Did it fire? Yes, it did fire.
It did fire.
Okay.
Stop leaning too far back.
All right.
All right. Unknowing bad guy.
He's sneaking up.
Ooh. Ooh, I see him right there.
Oh, it worked.
It did work.
Worked pretty well, actually. I feel like that was a quicker fire off than when
Yeah.
you used the clacker.
Hey, check this out. Oh wait, I can't tell if that's like
That's
something.
part of the shell.
Yeah, but like what's glowing on the inside there?
Oh, what's glowing? Oh,
yeah.
yeah. It's
Ooh.
on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actively on fire right now.
So, what I had pointed out earlier, with the rockets at least, is in fact true because it does have to burn something on the inside
right
there.
down in there, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it put itself out.
Did it?
Yeah.
Still smoking.
A little warm to the touch. Okay.
Yeah, so that is, I mean, you know, just something to be aware of.
You know,
Don't,
it
leave,
doesn't
it,
seem,
don't leave it in a bush.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's going to actually start a fire, but better safe than sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, you know, keep an eye on it.
Okay, both green. Let's experiment with this then, actually. So
Just the clicker.
the clicker and the Claymore setup, what would happen if I take this and I move this separately? So that is active and good. But if I want to set this up to be like right around here, will I be able to move this separately? So turn it on, arm it, says Stingray on it. So it's thinking about connecting.
Okay, so it's still connecting. Green.
Okay. Okay, there it goes off. Cool.
Yeah, red.
Okay. Imagine with me, Guardian Center. Lots of buildings, lots of concrete. Let's say I push up with my squad, get into a building, set this around a corner, and then want to have a little range extender that is going to be in the next building over. I don't know what that was. Something like popped over by my foot. So, through a little bit of distance, as well as through a couple of cinder blocks and concrete, will this still arm and activate? Or at least connect.
Red. Red.
All right, it did go off.
Yeah, it did.
However, it is a little odd to have to walk away from the Claymore, have just this, and try to be like, is it going to connect? Is it going to connect? Crazy scenario, go into Guardian Center, and you're the building next door. There's gonna be a little bit of distance, so if you can visually see when the other team is coming up into a floor, and you have that right next to the stairwell, is it going to actually go off? So, this guy is off here, and then I'm gonna start walking that way, and either wait and see until this disconnects, or if it's still green by the time I get by the road, I'll clack it off.
There goes my hero. Watch him as he goes. Red.
All right, I'm gonna go on the other side of the amped building.
Okay. There it goes. Red. Fire it off.
It does seem to take a little bit for it to reset.
Yeah, it does.
Oh,
I mean, they're also assuming you're rearming it too, so.
yeah. However, if I'm gonna be that far of a distance away, it's gonna take me a little bit to get there, reset it, unless, ooh, lost connection. Repairing. Blue. And that's gonna be one thing with these newer electronics, especially things that are gonna be homemade or custom made by companies like Stingray, is the technology they put in here is always going to be finicky. It's essentially like commercial grade. It's not anything that's gonna be like military grade where you have a lot of strength essentially with how that connectivity is going to work. So I just gotta be flexible. It's probably gonna be my one additional comment.
All right, guys, so that's kind of my overview of the Airsoft Stingray Claymore. It's a really cool system. It is a Claymore that has a bit more oomph than what you usually see in Claymores nowadays. So it's a very exciting system. I'm really excited to see where they take it in the future. So let me know if you guys are interested in picking up one of these and how you would use it at your local airsoft field. And I will catch you guys in the next one.